You ready? Call to order the Budget Agenda Health, Education, and Welfare Committee, December 6, 2021. The time is now 10:10 a.m. I'd like to ask Representative Deere to please give the invocation. Roll call, Tracy Wade.
Mary Crawford.
Present.
Joyce Deere.
Present.
James Jennings.
Here.
Anna Marshall.
Present.
Lucian Tiger.
Present.
Chairman, you have 5 present, 0 absent.
5 present, 0 absent constitutes a quorum. All business conducted to be official. Next item on the agenda will be the approval of minutes. We have no minutes available at this time. Next item on the agenda will be the order of business. Secretary of Education and Training. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, committee members. I have provided you each with a new copy of the Secretary of Education's budget. This budget is now considered a match budget to the 21 budget, so all numbers at the bottom of those sheets should total up to be the same number amounts. I will notify you that the Deputy Secretary position is still included on the Schedule A. However, it does balance at the bottom for the FY21 year.
Mr. Darnell, would you come forward, please? Committee questions? Representative Marshall.
Yes. Ms. Harjo, you were saying that you're going to, if I couldn't understand you quite clearly, on the Deputy Secretary position, did you say that was just for the 2021, or are you going to continue with it? Because it shows that you're keeping it in the line item.
Yes, ma'am, meaning that the total dollar amount at the bottom of that page is equal to the FY21 year. I'm sorry for that confusion. We anticipate leaving that deputy secretary into the FY22 budget that's presented in front of you today.
Okay. So you're going to go ahead and keep the deputy secretary position?
Yes, ma'am. Although Vice Chair Deere did make that recommendation, I took that back to Principal Chief's office and we had a discussion that we were going to continue to keep that deputy position, as I do feel that our Department of Education needs that representation within our school districts.
Okay. So exactly what does this deputy secretary do?
Our deputy secretary position is responsible for our tribal consultations and our tribal relations that we have with the 60-plus school districts within our reservation. That person is also responsible for the cultural responsive teachings that we do. She still continues to oversee our ACE grant as well as our EDA department that we have within the DET. And then she also contributes to the national levels with those connections that she has.
Okay. And then you're going to add a director of community services as well?
Yes, ma'am. This person, the Director of Community Services, is going to be more like our liaison. So this person is responsible for promoting what we're doing, fostering that relationship with the council representatives, as well as the other school districts that are not closely related to our reservation. So this person is also working with our at-large citizens, making sure that we're finding resources to make sure that they have the same opportunities as our in-reservation citizens have. You're welcome.
Ms. Harjo, I just want to remind you that you have an org chart here for your offices. There are no signatures on it, and it does need to be an approved org chart.
Yes, ma'am. We included that just so you could see what we will be providing to Chief Hill's office. That way, whenever it comes time to present those updated org charts, to have your signature authority listed on there, that's the org chart we will be presenting to Chief Hill.
But currently, there is no approved org chart.
No, ma'am, not that I have knowledge of. No, ma'am.
So that position isn't valid unless it's on an approved org chart.
Yes, ma'am, I understand, which is why we're working to try and get that org chart presented to you all so that way we can get that approval. We would like to include this position for the FY22, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reverend Jennings, you have anything? Representative Crawford? Pleasure of the committee.
Chairman,
Representative Jennings.
thank you. I'd like to make a motion to postpone this again and let's go over this position.
Representative Jennings, could you please speak into your mic, please? Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone this Secretary of Education and Training again till next week so we can go over some of these positions.
Representative Jennings made a motion to postpone Secretary of Education and Training budget until next Monday, the 13th.
Yes, sir.
Second by Representative Marshall. Discussion. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deer.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. Secretary of Education and Training is postponed until the 13th. Thank you, Ms. Harjo.
Thank you.
Scholarship Foundation. Good morning. Could you make sure your mic's on, please?
Good morning, Chair and committee members.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. LaFall.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain your changes to your budget, please?
Okay. The main changes that I have has to do with our salary and wages. We added a community outreach coordinator and kept our receptionist, and then, of course, my salary is paid at 45%. Scholarship Foundation, and the other is through higher education. And that's really, the only other thing we did is software and licenses because we're doing it internal. So that's been reduced. And then printing cost has been reduced some because we didn't use as much last year. Public relations, we reduced that by about 500. And then we also, project activity has been reduced some. Other than that, the total budget reflects our 21 budget.
Questions, committee? Reverend Jennings?
Mr. Darnell, I have a question for Mr. Darnell. Would you explain something to me?
Ms. LaFall,
Yes, ma'am.
on your Schedule B,
Yes.
it looks like the amounts are different from the one that we had before. You've gone up.
We, on Schedule B, we did, we added $2,500, two for, $1,500 for the Native Philanthropy Institute and the other for tribal relations. So that made it $2,500. So that was a change on our travel. I apologize, yes. Last year we had 2,000, now this year we have 2,500.
Thank you.
Yes, Representative Jennings, you had a question?
I do. So on the director's position, 45% of the 62,354, where is the other 55% coming from?
It comes out of higher education.
I mean, we don't know that, and it doesn't show us that here.
Okay. Yes, basically, in the past, we've always split it between higher education and scholarship foundation. And this split has always been like 45% out of the scholarship foundation, and the balance has been out of higher education. And
I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't show us that here. it,
I'm more than welcome to put that on there, add that on there where it comes out of higher education. But it hasn't changed. It's basically the same split that we've had for the last 4 years. Well, last 3 years.
yes.
But I'll make sure that I will put that and give you
yeah, because you know we have some salaries that are broken down by quarter, by 25% here, but they all show where they come from.
Okay. I'll make sure that I give you an updated copy with the 55% coming out of higher education on this Schedule A.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Thank you, Representative Jennings. Any other questions from the committee? Pleasure of the committee.
Motion to approve.
Representative Jennings made a motion to approve Scholarship Foundation budget. Representative Deere, you have a question? Second by Representative Deere. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deere.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. Scholarship Foundation budget passed. Next on the agenda is reintegration.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Good morning.
Mr. Fish, would you explain your changes to your budget from last week?
Yes, ma'am. So the biggest changes was, if you notice at the very bottom of the budget, we have a 785 line item. We've moved that money back up into salary and wages where they came from. That was broken up for reporting purposes on a grant that we no longer have that ended. So we moved that money back up, and then I also took excess funds that we had in other line items, and through an evaluation process, we determined that there was two positions that was needed at the program. One was a grant coordinator, and the other one was a recreation coordinator. Recreation coordinator, as you know, we're building a wellness center down in Henrietta through grant funds through the Department of Justice. And we are, one of the things that the clients tell me is, the lack of recreational activities that they would like to see and that we don't have, trying to keep them busy and basically on the right track. So having somebody there that, commits solely to that would be beneficial to us, and also somebody who can help oversee our grants, our reporting. As right now, the lady that does that for us, she also takes care of the financial part. And it's been a burden on her, for the last couple of years. And I'm trying to split that up a little bit. And then also with the school, the fiber optic technician program has been highly successful, but there's a lot of ins and outs as far as getting everything, all the paperwork in, making sure that everybody attends the class and gets the funding and so forth. So, that's a full-time job that we've kind of split up amongst the rest of the staff, and it's just been a little overwhelming. So we felt that those two positions were needed, and I was able to, balance my budget, shave some areas down to create those two new positions.
So your salaries on here are staying the same?
Yes, ma'am.
So if there is an increase for, we talked about a budget or a salary increase for all the employees being the same, 6%.
Yes, I actually took the salaries back down to the level without the COLA raise, on the thought of the last conversation we had was that everybody was going to get a percentage raise. So I pulled those back out of the Schedule A.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Fish, with that being said, where am I missing the $230,000 salary difference from 22 to 21?
Most of that comes from at the very bottom, T11 to 785 line item. If you go over on a 2021 budget,
Right. Yes, sir. I saw that.
and we move that money back up into the salary and wages. And for this year, it's zero. And the reason why that was is because it was for reporting purposes in finance, so they can report accurately the amount of time we spent on the grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
President Marshall.
How many residents do you have currently?
This morning, we have 36 residents.
Is that, you're at full capacity?
We have room at the transitional living facility. We have some that's off-site who either already have jobs or have families. And we don't have a family residential setting, so we have clients off-site as well. On-site, I believe the number is right around 20.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions from Mr. Fisher and the committee? Representative Jennings.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Fisher. I was just looking at some of the changes that you've made, in the contractual. You went from $1,200 up to $15,000.
So that money, that's a revised number that you're looking at. Originally, it was 85,000. And most of that money goes to our attorney that we have on site. Now, we were able to write and receive a grant, and we're able to move that money, or actually remove that fund to the grant and pay for it for the next 5 years. So in the process, I've done a budget modification, knocked that number down, but I also kept 15,000 there as kind of a backup for things we have going on. We have a strand assessment that we're trying to get finalized that basically asserts the risk of recidivism in a Native American format. We have that we're trying to finalize as one piece. And also, we have some unknowns with the Wellness Center, if we may have to do some contractual on that part as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Representative Marshall.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the budget for reintegration.
Representative Marshall made a motion to approve reintegration budget. Is there a second? Second by Representative Crawford. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deer,
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda be Muskogee language. Questions from the committee? Representative Marshall?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the
Representative
budget.
Marshall made a motion to approve the Muskogee language budget. There a second? Second by Representative Crawford. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deer,
Yes.
James Jennings.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda will be Head Start.
Widow Committee.
Good morning, Ms. Cameron. Would you go over your changes from your last budget? Would you go over your changes from your last budget? Thank you.
Our last budget on the Schedule A, we just had center supervisors on there. And so we've added the bus driver, custodians, and the cook aides onto the gaming. Which increased the budget.
Could you repeat what positions you added?
21, we had just center supervisors on the gaming, and we added bus drivers, custodians, which really they're maintenance, and then our cook aides.
Thank you.
Questions from the committee?
Ms. Cameron, what type of building repairs did you have this past year? Building repairs?
For the building repairs, we did roof, paint on the outside, on the inside. We did new carpet. We've plumbing units, ACs, locks. Did you hear me? We did new roofs on the Head Starts, Eufaula, and we did playground. Well, that is not building, but we did paint, exterior paint, interior paint, new carpet, plumbing, locks, changed locks.
I'm sorry, at different locations?
Eufaula got a new roof, and then Aunt Moggy got, the admin side got new carpet. 2 units went out at Aunt Moggy, Tulsa, Eufaula. They all got new AC units.
Thank you.
Oh, and new guttering.
What
New
was that?
guttering around the buildings. Oh, and awnings. Aunt Moggy got awnings too.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Representative Jennings.
Mr. Carmen, there on the bottom of your page here, you're requesting $400,000 permanent increase to cover salaries and maintenance and operation. So this is outside of what you receive from the federal government.
Yes.
So can you explain that? Do you have a worksheet or something where we can go by to see where that money is coming from? And
On the Schedule A on the gaming, you can see where it says FY21 salaries, it reflects the center supervisors. And that was what our beginning salary was. And we moved over 8 positions into the gaming side, so it increased that. And we're asking for the salary increases to, basically it's to keep our staff. We're competing against other, like childcare and our federal government, our federal budget will not allow us to carry all salaries. So we do have to have operations in there.
okay. So how much of an increase?
We are asking for the $375,995 increase. With our, we waived our 20% match for FY21. The federal government let us waive it. So with that match, the total requested was, would be, with the match, our original budget would be $659,582, and with the increase of $375,995.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
Chairman, I make a motion to pass.
Representative Representative Deere made a motion for a due pass. Second by Representative Marshall. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Joyce Deere,
Yes.
James Jennings, Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next on the agenda, Human Services.
Thank you.
Or Human Resources.
Nadeau.
Thank you, board. I'm getting back here. Services, Human Resources.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Jennings.
Good morning, sir. I have a
Good morning.
question here on the manager's position.
Yes, sir.
Why doesn't it have a start, a range for your salary from to?
My salary came in as a negotiated salary.
I didn't hear you.
My salary was a negotiated salary, so the line item was left like that.
So you don't have a stop and, okay, I understand.
I would
that.
fall under MB10. And I do apologize, that is not on there.
So, 2021 Schedule A, your current salary was 74,620, and then you were increased to 78,500. And so now on 2022, you're going from 78,500 to 85,000.
Yes, sir, we use the compensation study
I,
we
I,
did for the
I heard
nation.
this before from you. Yes, sir.
Sure.
I've heard you explain this, how you came about these figures, but I don't agree with it. So I just want to know why you didn't have a stop and start position. Thank you.
I would like to note that we did save over $100,000 in our budget from fiscal year last year to this year.
Mr. Janasek,
Yes.
on your budget worksheet, your amount requested for 2022 is quite a bit lower
Yes.
than the current year. Could you explain those changes?
Yes. The health department has taken back over the health human resources, which allowed us to free up
Could you,
positions.
I'm sorry,
Well, we
could you
had
speak
added
into
two
the
back in.
microphone?
We had added 2 back in from the health department taking over health HR. We had added 2 positions back in, and that's the decrease that you see.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Jennings.
Yes, I'd like to postpone this so we could deal with it on our 6% increase as we have done with our other budgets.
Representative Jennings made a motion to postpone the human resources budget till December 13th. Is there a second? Second by Representative Deere. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deere.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda, be Human Services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we didn't really go into our budgets last time because we had some differences in our amounts. But I did sit down with Secretary Carmen and we went back through and we checked in Budget Central for fiscal year 22 and made any corrections that we needed to make. So our fiscal year 22 budgets in Budget Central currently reflect our requested fiscal year 22 budgets. Budget Central. Chairman, did you
Yes.
want to start with a specific budget or, because I have several, as you know.
Correct.
I think, what do you have pulled up?
We're looking
I
at right
believe
now.
he has gaming on the screen right
Yes,
now.
the social services gaming. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. In gaming, a big increase you'll see is in the disaster line item as well.
Ms. Hanawa,
Yes.
Could you explain on your Schedule A for school clothing, your salary ranges, like for the supervisor, it's not in that salary range, it's below the salary range.
You're looking at motor vehicle?
No, school clothing.
Yeah, motor vehicle, school clothing.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and you're saying that, which one again? I'm sorry.
Well, the supervisor is below the current salary. The current salary is below the salary range, but some of the others are above that.
The supervisor, so that would, the increase, of course, reflects the increase in salaries that are being requested. So the range is adjusted to meet that requested salary.
So you're proposing to just bring it up to the salary range, the beginning salary range this year?
The SB 13.
What about the SB 9? Was it already at the beginning salary
Yes,
range?
so SB 9, those are our case specialists, and their current salary is at the beginning of that range. The increase stays within that range, the SB 9.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Representative Deere.
And just for clarification, anytime you see the position at half in all of the social services budgets, the other half is paid from TANF, meaning like the receptionist is at half because she answers the call, of course, the phones for for all of our programs, so we split the salaries.
It is noted on here. It's noted on here that way.
Good. In gaming? No.
Chairman, a motion do pass.
Representative Deere made a motion to pass. Is there a second? Second by Representative Marshall. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Joyce Deere,
Yes.
James Jennings, Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda be senior services.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and
Morning.
committee members. I do have some copies. copies are in a packet format, and each one has different tabs for the different sub-departments that are within elder services. And the blue tab will indicate that the first sub-department is the senior services. It should include the year-to-date analysis and the corrections that was input into Munis, SAAS, and reflect the salary increase should reflect the 5 additional days. And that would be the difference between the previous year, because last year we had 4 additional days. Purple tab indicates the adult protective services. The pink tab is the Social Security Assistance Program.
Where's that office located?
Pardon?
Social services.
Social Security.
Social Security, I'm sorry.
Yes, they are now currently in the Children and Family Service building. They're being housed in that office currently at this time.
Is that temporary?
A temporary stay. I think it's my understanding that until our building is actually built, then we'll all be moved back together again. Be one big happy family.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Marshall.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the senior services budget.
Representative Marshall made a motion to approve the senior services budget. Is there a second? Second by Representative Crawford. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford, Joyce Deer,
Yes.
James Jennings. Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next item on the agenda, food distribution.
Good morning, everyone. I will be doing
Good morning.
both food distribution and elderly nutrition, just so you know. totally nutrition. There should be 2 Schedule A's for E&P, because there's full-time and part-time.
Got part-time. Is that correct? Full-time, part-time, she's part-time. Yes, we've got that.
They were all grouped together, I'm not sure.
Full-time and part. The full-time, part-time. Early nutrition. Need to. Nutrition second. The distribution.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Representative Marshall.
Um, are your salaries within that 6% across the board?
They're more, they're a level raise, like they're not all 6%, no.
Okay, the
They were
question
to-
that, the reason why I'm asking the question, are you bringing the current salary, let's take the program manager at 42,016. Now they were below your beginning range. Is that the rationale? You were going to bring them up to the 45 and then plus the 6%?
No,
That's not it?
no.
Okay, can you explain how you went from 42 to the proposed salary of 53?
When that employee was first hired on, he was just a certification supervisor, and he didn't really get a raise whenever we made him the program manager. So now we're putting that actual program manager salary in here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Darnell, could you come up here? We've got a question.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Marshall.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone both the food distribution and elderly nutrition until next week.
Representative Marshall made a motion to postpone food distribution and elderly nutrition until December 13th. Is there a second? Second by Representative Deere. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford, Joyce Dare,
Yes.
James Jennings. Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Next on the agenda is CHR.
To the control from the Department of Health to fund the other portion of this budget. So I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Representative Jennings made a motion to approve the CHR budget. Second by Representative Marshall. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
James Jennings,
Yes.
Anna Marshall, Mary Crawford, Joyce Dare.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed. Southern Regional Office passed last week, so next item on the agenda would be Veterans Affairs.
Widow.
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Jennings.
thank you. Good morning, Mr. Nguyen.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. On your SB 13 Veterans Affairs Executive Officer, that needs to be reclassified.
Yes, sir. I'll get with HR and make those changes.
Questions from the committee? Representative Jennings.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen, my question is on your fax and telephone, going from 492 to 2,500.
We had to have another line, and at the time we just had one phone. We didn't have any lines, but also that's also our Wi-Fi that we use on that, and it's just the expenses of a new phone for this. But as we go into the year, we weren't going to have it much, but it's our new telephone bill coming up. We have more lines. We didn't have that line.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Representative Deere.
Mr. Wind, good morning. On your supplies, you've more than doubled the amount for supplies. Is there specialty supplies that you're ordering for this next year?
Yes, we have a new computer that we needed for a lot of our graphics work that we're doing, and the one he has is over 5 years old and is starting to have problems with it, and even software we can't get for it. So we're needing it for a new computer, and also to be able to buy the software we need for it.
Would part of that be included below under software and licenses?
Yes, that's what we
Equipment?
use that for primarily on that is the license that we have currently. We're now getting to where we can follow the claims all the way through. So we've got a new computer system or a new software license that we have with the ODVA, and that's where that mainly for. But the top one is on the computer is so that the software and everything is combined as a package when we buy it.
That's considered equipment, not supplies. I mean, supplies, not equipment.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Deere.
I have a question for clarification.
Representative Marshall.
Hi, Mr. Nguyen.
How are you?
Can you explain to me, you have a Veterans Affairs Director and a Veterans Affairs Executive Officer. What are the difference in their functions?
I'm the director. The executive officer is a title that was given to Sean Tyler. Sean Tyler is the one who actually maintains our building and makes sure our building is taken care of. He also does all of our graphics, and he does anything, I guess, that needs to keep maintained that the building is going on, the museum and everything. So it's he's the executive officer is more or less my assistant.
Okay, and then the operations officer is like an office manager?
Yes, that would be Rachel. She does she makes sure all the operations office is going. You know, any of the secretarial work, anything we do for our claims, she follows our claims. But she
Oh, okay.
basically is office manager. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Representative Marshall. Questions from the committee? Representative Jennings.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nguyen, doesn't pertain to the tribal budget, but do you know of any increases for the veterans that are receiving compensation? Is the federal government going to give any raises, or do you know anything what's going to
Yes,
happen?
we have applied for several veterans now that's come through. You're talking about the disabilities, getting increase in disabilities?
No, it's on an annual, just like your Social Security. It's in the federal budget for compensation. They increase it 1.5%, 2%.
Yes, sir. I'm not really sure on that. I'll have to check in. I think we did, but I'm not. I'll have to get back to you on that to make sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Motion to approve.
Representative Jennings made a motion to approve. Second by Representative Marshall. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
James Jennings, Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Joyce Deere.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 4 in favor, 0 against.
4 in favor, 0 against. That motion passed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We're going to reschedule the health systems portion of the budget to December 14th at 10 a.m. Yes, ma'am. No, Tuesday, because we've already. Next on the agenda be other business. We have any other business? Hearing none, announcements from the committee. Announcements from any council that are on the line, if there are any. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Representative Deere made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Representative Jennings. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. This time I'd like to ask Representative Marshall to please give the benediction.
Let us pray. Creator God, we just come to you today and just thank you for all the blessings and for all the care that you have provided for us for this past week and this continuing week that we look forward to. And we just ask that you bless each and every person that came before us today and to bless all those who came to observe and those who are interested in tribal government. And we just ask that you continue to bless this committee as we move forward with all the work that has been set before us. And we just come to you with thankful and grateful hearts. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Meeting adjourned, 11:58.